You lie down, close your eyes, and I'll tell you a story. A story about a distant world that might not be so distant after all. A world humanity has never set foot on, yet one we already know so much about. Tonight, I'll tell you about Proxima b. Let its image guide you gently into sleep, filled with starlight and the soft hush of space. Proxima Centauri is our nearest stellar neighbor, a small, cool red dwarf. It's quieter than our sun, yet surprisingly active. Tiny compared to our star, cooler and dimmer, but alive with bursts of energy. Its mass is only about 12% that of the Sun, and its radius around 15%. Its surface glows at roughly 2,980 Kelvin, making it much softer and redder than the warm yellow sun we know. And every now and then, it flares, releasing sudden, brilliant bursts of radiation. Yet despite all this activity, Proxima is our closest companion in the cosmic ocean. And around it circles a world worth imagining, Proxima b. Let's drift closer. Proxima b was discovered in 2016 by watching tiny wobbles in its star's motion, the Doppler method. It orbits extremely close to Proxima, only about 0.05 of an astronomical unit, roughly 7 million kilometers. 1 year there lasts just 11 Earth days. Its mass is estimated to be somewhere between about 1.17 and 1.6 Earth masses, depending on its orbital tilt. Its radius is less certain, likely between about 0.9 and 1.4 Earth radii, depending on its internal structure and water content. This makes Proxima b what scientists call a super-Earth, a rocky planet slightly larger than our own, possibly with a thicker mantle, more internal heat, and perhaps even water. Its calculated equilibrium temperature without an atmosphere is around 234 Kelvin, or about minus 39 degrees Celsius. But this number doesn't tell the whole story. With an atmosphere, oceans, and circulating heat, the surface could be far warmer or much colder. It all depends on what Proxima b truly has. Most intriguing of all, Proxima b lies in the habitable zone, the region where liquid water could exist. We do not yet know if the planet has continents or whether it's an endless ocean world. Some models suggest a deep global ocean, perhaps many tens or even hundreds of kilometers deep, if the planet contains a significant amount of water. A thicker crust, a large iron core, and a massive water layer are all possible. Proxima Centauri is an active red dwarf. It erupts with powerful flares that blast the planet with X-ray and ultraviolet radiation up to about 60 times more than Earth receives. Such radiation can strip atmospheres away over millions of years, especially if the planet lacks a strong magnetic field. Some models predict partial or total atmospheric loss. Others suggest thick atmospheres, rich in carbon dioxide or nitrogen, might survive, especially if the planet has active volcanoes or continuous outgassing. Chemistry under such radiation becomes complex. Molecules break apart, recombine, form exotic gases, or vanish entirely. The question remains, does Proxima b still hold on to an atmosphere, or has it long since been stripped bare? We don't know. But if an atmosphere does persist, life becomes far more plausible. Everything comes down to water, chemistry, and stability. If Proxima b has a deep ocean, or even pockets of liquid water along the terminator, life might find a foothold. Subsurface oceans, geothermal heating, and chemical gradients could all support biology, even under strong radiation. But life would need to adapt to constant twilight or permanent night, to frequent flares, to potentially thick or thin atmospheres, to a red sun that glows instead of shining. Some scientists imagine photosynthesis tuned not to yellow light, but to red and infrared. Others imagine deep-sea ecosystems beneath an ice layer, like those we propose for Europa or Enceladus. Proxima b may not be hospitable in an Earth-like sense, but life in its resilience might still find a way. We are still far from reaching this world. At a little over 4 light-years away, Proxima b is unimaginably distant with today's technology. But we are trying. Precision spectrographs track tiny motions of the star. New observatories search for atmospheric signatures. Future giant telescopes may directly image oceans or clouds. Interstellar probes, while difficult, are no longer pure fantasy. Each year, our instruments sharpen. Each decade, our reach extends. One day, we may see Proxima b not as a blurred data point, but as a world. Now, let's really picture it. Humanity has finally arrived on Proxima b. The first thing we'd notice is that this is not Earth. The light is different. The sky a soft reddish-orange, and the horizon seems almost frozen in a permanent twilight. Our first homes, almost without question, would be built in what scientists call the terminator zone, the narrow belt circling the planet, where one side faces eternal day and the other side is locked in unending night. Think of it as a cosmic twilight, stretched all the way around the globe. On the day side, temperatures are extreme, blistering hot, enough to melt metals and make even short exposures lethal. On the night side, the cold is absolute, a frozen wasteland colder than Antarctica, where unprotected humans could not survive for more than minutes. But along the terminator, in that sliver between fire and ice, there exists a narrow, precious band of moderation. Temperatures there could be mild, even comfortable by human standards, offering the only feasible zone for long-term settlements. It's like living in a perpetual dawn or dusk, a never-ending golden hour stretching around the planet. Settlements would need to be sophisticated and protective. Most homes would be built partially underground, carved into the crust to provide natural insulation against temperature extremes and radiation. On the surface, giant transparent domes might cover living areas, laboratories, and greenhouses. These domes wouldn't be ordinary glass, they would be layered composites coated with reflective materials to deflect harmful ultraviolet rays, with integrated magnetic shielding to create localized safety pockets during stellar flares. Every dome would be a miniature world of controlled climate, carefully maintaining temperature, pressure, and humidity. Inside these habitats, humans could breathe normally, walk freely, and live relatively comfortably, but everything outside would remain hazardous. That means transportation couldn't be like Earth at all. To get around, colonists would rely on underground maglev tunnels, linking major domes and settlements. These tunnels would allow high-speed, pressurized travel between colonies without ever exposing people to deadly radiation or the planet's temperature extremes. Above ground, autonomous robotic rovers would handle transport of raw materials, equipment, and even crops from external farms or research sites. Monitoring stations dotted along the terminator would constantly check radiation levels, wind patterns, and temperature, feeding data back to each colony's central control system in real time. The layout of the colonies themselves would resemble a network of interconnected bubbles. Living quarters, laboratories, medical centers, recreation halls, hydroponic farms, and greenhouses would all be linked via pressurized corridors, forming a single, integrated ecosystem. Life support systems would recycle air and water continuously, with redundancy built in, so if one section fails, another can immediately compensate. Every surface, every piece of equipment would have to be designed for long-term durability in an environment that, though mild by planetary standards, is still punishing to unprotected humans. Even leisure activities would be shaped by the environment. The perpetual twilight means humans would never experience sunrise or sunset as we know it. Recreation areas might have artificial lighting that mimics Earth's day-night cycle, while green spaces under domes could allow colonists to enjoy plants and trees specially engineered to grow under red light. Settling the Terminator zone wouldn't just be about survival. It would also be about establishing the foundations of a new civilization. Colonists would build their homes, their labs, their schools, and their social spaces, all designed to let humans adapt physically and psychologically to a planet with a permanent red sun and a narrow strip of habitable conditions. Every design choice, every corridor, every dome would reflect the reality that Proxima b is an alien world, and yet one where humans could, if careful, finally call home. And yet, despite all the planning, the Terminator zone would remain a delicate line between extremes. Too far toward the day side, and a flare from Proxima Centauri or simple solar heat could become fatal. Too far toward the night side, and frostbite or hypothermia could strike in minutes. The settlers' lives would be a careful balance, a daily negotiation with the planet's harsh realities. The Terminator isn't just a zone, it's a lifeline, the first cradle of humanity on Proxima b, where survival and ingenuity meet, and where the first sparks of a new civilization take root. Living on Proxima b wouldn't just be about wearing a spacesuit or staying inside domes. It would slowly, subtly change humans over time. Let's start with gravity. The planet's gravity is slightly stronger than Earth's, maybe just enough to make a difference over years or decades. At first, it might feel like carrying a small backpack everywhere, nothing too dramatic. But over time, your muscles and bones would respond. Bones might gradually become denser, muscles stronger in some areas, while other parts of the body, especially joints or the heart, would have to work harder. Colonists would likely need a structured regimen of exercise every day, not just for health, but to prevent weakening, bone loss, or even cardiovascular strain. Imagine a morning workout being just as vital as breakfast. Next, the light of Proxima Centauri, that warm, reddish glow, would be everywhere. It's not like our yellow sun, bright and golden. It's dimmer, softer, redder, almost like living under a permanent sunset. At first, your eyes would struggle to adjust. Colors would look different. Your depth perception might shift subtly, and your vision would adapt to dim, crimson tones. Humans evolved under sunlight with a broad spectrum of colors. On Proxima b, your biology would start compensating. Pupils might stay slightly more open. Retinas could slowly shift to be more sensitive to red and infrared wavelengths. Then there's the matter of circadian rhythms. On Earth, your body clock is guided by sunrise and sunset. On Proxima b, there is no natural day-night cycle along the terminator. You'd live in perpetual twilight. Without artificial regulation, sleep cycles would drift, hormones would fall out of balance, and psychological stress could build up. Colonists would need carefully controlled lighting inside habitats, simulated morning and evening periods, timed temperature changes, and perhaps even auditory cues, like soft chiming or birdsong from Earth recordings, to signal the start and end of a day. Your body would learn to treat these signals as daylight, keeping sleep, metabolism, and alertness in rhythm. Atmospheric conditions could introduce another layer of adaptation. Even if the air is engineered to resemble Earth's, there may be slight differences in oxygen levels, nitrogen ratios, or trace gases. Some habitats might have air that's slightly denser, slightly thinner, or enhanced with protective compounds to compensate for radiation exposure or the planet's slight pressure differences. Humans would need continuous monitoring, oxygen saturation, lung function, cardiovascular responses, especially during exercise, work outside domes, or scientific expeditions. Over generations, bodies might adapt to these differences, but the first settlers would have to be extremely careful. The red light and constant twilight could also affect melatonin production, mood, and mental health. Studies on Earth show that light spectrum and intensity have profound effects on the brain. On Proxima b, with long-term exposure to reddish light, humans might feel slightly more lethargic if not properly regulated, or their perception of time could warp. Artificial lighting would need to mimic the intensity and spectrum of Earth's sunlight, perhaps using phased systems to simulate natural daylight and maintain both physical and psychological health. Even subtle nutritional considerations would matter. Living under a red sun, plants in hydroponic gardens might develop different pigments to absorb the available light, slightly changing their nutritional content. Colonists might need supplements or engineered diets to maintain bone density, eye health, and immune function. And there's evolutionary pressure, albeit gradual. Over generations, humans born and raised on Proxima b could see physical changes, slightly stronger legs and torsos, eyes tuned to dimmer red light, possibly even changes in skin pigmentation or blood oxygen efficiency. These adaptations would be subtle, not dramatic, but over decades, they'd make the Proxima-born humans different from their Earth-born ancestors in ways we can only imagine. Finally, there's the mental aspect of living on a planet with permanent twilight and a red sun. Humans are visual creatures, deeply tied to light cues. Living under a soft, eternal glow might create a new baseline for perception, mood, and cultural expression. People might develop heightened night vision, a stronger sense of spatial awareness in low light, or even new forms of art, storytelling, and communication inspired by the alien skies above them. In short, living on Proxima b wouldn't just be a challenge of survival, it would be a full recalibration of human physiology, psychology, and daily habits, carefully guided by technology and observation, yet subtly shaping the humans who call this distant world home. Settling humans on Proxima b would be far more than simply building shelters. It would be a feat of engineering, biology, and environmental control, all working together to create sustainable, livable spaces in an alien world. The planet's harsh conditions, eternal day on one side, freezing darkness on the other, radiation from the red dwarf star, and a potentially thin or artificial atmosphere demand structures that combine resilience, adaptability, and self-sufficiency. The backbone of any colony would be multi-level domes, enormous enclosed spaces designed not only for protection, but also for functionality. Each dome would be carefully segmented into layers or sectors, each with a dedicated purpose. Lower layers would house research laboratories, engineering workshops, energy plants, water purification systems, and storage facilities. These levels would be shielded from radiation and temperature extremes, ensuring that critical infrastructure remains operational regardless of external conditions. Middle layers would accommodate living quarters, kitchens, medical bays, and communal spaces. Here, the colony's social life would unfold, with families, teams, and researchers interacting in a controlled, safe environment. Upper levels would serve as recreational spaces, parks, observation decks, and hydroponic greenhouses, allowing residents to connect with nature, light, and open space, even under Proxima B's crimson skies. The domes themselves would be constructed from advanced composite materials, combining strength, transparency, and radiation protection. Transparent sections would use layered glass with embedded filters to block ultraviolet and X-ray radiation while letting through enough light for photosynthesis in plants. Surfaces might also include reflective coatings, redirecting excessive heat or light, and even electromagnetic shielding to protect against high-energy stellar flares. The outer structure would be modular, enabling robots and autonomous drones to assemble, repair, or expand sections as needed. Expansion could be incremental, with new domes and corridors linking existing modules, forming interconnected bubble cities within the Terminator zone. Inside, life support systems would operate as fully integrated, automated ecosystems. Hydroponic farms and algae bioreactors would recycle water, nutrients, and air, maintaining a closed-loop environment that maximizes efficiency. Every drop of water and every bit of organic material would be conserved, reprocessed, and reintegrated. Plants would not just grow food, they would contribute to air purification, humidity regulation, and mental well-being. Specialized plant species, genetically or biologically engineered, could absorb Proxima Centauri's red light more effectively than normal chlorophyll, using pigments that are darker or richer in red and infrared wavelengths. Gardens, indoor forests, and algae ponds would form both functional and aesthetic layers, creating spaces that nurture mental health, provide fresh food, and maintain air quality. Energy systems would need to be equally versatile and redundant. Geothermal power would tap into the planet's internal heat, providing a stable, reliable energy source independent of surface conditions. Compact nuclear reactors would supplement energy needs, designed for long-term stability with multiple fail-safes to prevent accidents. The day side of the planet, permanently facing the star, could host solar collection arrays, capturing light and converting it into electricity. This energy would then be transmitted via high-efficiency fiber networks to colonies on the Terminator or even underground levels. Every system, air circulation, water purification, climate control, energy storage, would operate under AI supervision, capable of adjusting flows, pressures, and temperatures in real time. Redundancies, from backup generators to duplicate life support modules, would ensure that no single failure could jeopardize human life. Transportation across Proxima b would be a combination of underground and surface mobility systems, tailored to the extreme environment. Maglev tunnels running beneath the domes would allow pressurized transport pods to move colonists, supplies, and equipment safely and efficiently, independent of weather, radiation storms, or surface hazards. On the surface, autonomous drones and rovers would handle exploration, maintenance, and resource gathering. These vehicles would be heavily shielded, equipped with sensors to detect radiation spikes, temperature anomalies, and terrain hazards. The Terminator zone itself, where eternal day meets endless night, would serve as a natural corridor. Here, conditions would be more temperate, and corridors connecting domes, labs, farms, and energy plants would form a safe network for surface travel, even for humans with protective gear. Colonial infrastructure would be designed for modularity and adaptability. Expansion could be achieved by adding new dome modules, linking them with pressurized corridors, or building vertical levels to accommodate increasing populations. Robotics would play a critical role in construction, with autonomous machines assembling components, inspecting for structural integrity, and performing routine maintenance. Humans would oversee operations, but many tasks would be automated, especially those involving high radiation exposure or extreme temperatures. Colonists might also employ smart materials, capable of self-healing small cracks or adjusting transparency in response to changing light or radiation levels. Beyond survival, the design of habitats would emphasize mental and social well-being. Recreation areas would feature parks, small water bodies, and even artificial forests, where humans could experience nature despite being on an alien world. Observation decks would allow stargazing, monitoring of Proxima Centauri's activity, or simply enjoying the unique crimson twilight. Indoor lighting would simulate Earth-like day-night cycles, adjusting brightness and color temperature to help regulate circadian rhythms. Temperature gradients could be subtly controlled, mimicking morning warmth or evening coolness to maintain a sense of routine and comfort. Schools, workshops, libraries, and laboratories would be integrated within the domes, supporting education, research, and cultural life in a way that makes the colony function as a full society rather than just a survival outpost. Security and emergency systems would be paramount. Radiation shelters would be strategically placed, allowing immediate refuge during stellar flares. Life support systems would include alarms for air contamination, pressure loss, or structural breaches. AI would manage contingency protocols, coordinating evacuation routes, adjusting environmental systems, and communicating with residents in real time. For extreme scenarios, meteor strikes, structural failure, or solar storms, underground bunkers and redundant airlocks would ensure survival, while surface drones could quickly repair damage or deliver emergency supplies. Finally, architecture and technology would be intertwined with cultural identity. The look and feel of domes, corridors, and gardens would reflect a human aesthetic adapted to alien conditions. Soft curves, warm lighting, and red-filtered natural light, creating spaces that feel familiar yet distinctly otherworldly. Over time, as the colony grows, these domes might evolve into complex networks of interconnected habitats, forming urban-like structures that retain harmony with the surrounding Terminator landscape. In short, settlements on Proxima b would represent the pinnacle of human ingenuity, balancing survival, comfort, functionality, and beauty. These would not merely be shelters, they would be living, breathing ecosystems designed to protect humans while allowing them to adapt, thrive, and eventually flourish under alien skies. With every detail, from energy generation to recreational parks, carefully optimized for life on a world far different from our own. Life in the Terminator zone of Proxima b would be unlike anything we know on Earth, both strange and surprisingly beautiful. Imagine looking up and seeing a sky painted in a perpetual gradient of crimson, deep ruby, and soft amber, stretching endlessly across the horizon like an eternal sunset. There's no familiar sunrise or sunset here, no predictable day or night. Instead, the sky is a constant, shifting canvas, colored by the dim, red light of Proxima Centauri, casting everything in shades of warm copper and orange. It's a light that feels soft, almost intimate, yet it shapes everything about daily life: how eyes perceive distance, how skin absorbs warmth, how the mind interprets time. Because there's no natural day-night cycle, human circadian rhythms must be artificially regulated. Colonists rely on carefully programmed lighting, temperature cycles, and controlled sleep-wake schedules inside their habitats. Morning, noon, and evening are recreated with dimmed lights and subtle heating or cooling to simulate the familiar rhythm of Earth. Even small adjustments, a slight change in light color or intensity, can cue the body to prepare for work, rest, or meals. Over time, colonists would become highly attuned to these artificial rhythms, forming new internal clocks that align with human biology while respecting the alien environment. Food production is a central aspect of daily life. Biodomes are filled with hydroponic gardens, aquaponics systems, and algae farms. Water is recycled constantly, nutrients circulated efficiently, and every plant serves multiple purposes: nutrition, oxygen production, humidity control, and even psychological comfort. Plants might be genetically adapted to thrive under the red spectrum of light, their pigments darker or reddish to maximize energy absorption. Leaves would shimmer with deep reds and purples, creating a surreal, almost alien indoor forest. Colonists might spend hours tending these gardens, not just for sustenance, but as a calming, meditative activity that connects them to living systems in a world that otherwise feels stark and engineered. Life outside the Terminator zone would be more extreme. Venturing onto the day side is impossible for unprotected humans. Temperatures soar far beyond tolerable levels, and radiation is intense. Similarly, the night side is a frozen expanse, with winds sweeping across glaciers and snowfields, colder than any place on Earth. Only research teams, clad in fully insulated, radiation-shielded suits with integrated heat and energy sources, would explore these regions. These expeditions are careful, deliberate, and meticulously planned. Movement is slow and methodical. Every step on icy terrain or rocky surfaces is measured. Every task is coordinated with automated drones that scout and secure the path ahead. Even simple outdoor movement along the Terminator feels like a controlled adventure. Colonists might traverse pressurized corridors, maglev tunnels, or external walkways connecting domes and energy stations. Safety protocols are embedded into every activity. Sensors monitor temperature, radiation, and air composition. Protective gear is standard when leaving domes, and automated systems can create temporary shields or environmental adjustments to keep people safe during sudden flares from the star. Daily life is also shaped by the psychological challenges of living in permanent twilight. Humans are social creatures, and the isolation and monotony of the terminator could weigh heavily without careful design of habitats and schedules. Communities are organized around shared spaces, recreation halls, observation decks, communal kitchens, and exercise areas, ensuring colonists can interact, collaborate, and maintain morale. Simulated daylight hours, combined with gentle shifts in ambient temperature and soundscapes, help anchor residents' sense of time and mental stability. Meditation spaces, quiet zones, and indoor parks provide essential respite, helping people stay grounded in an environment that is otherwise alien and unyielding. For physical health, daily routines integrate exercise and mobility. Slightly higher gravity than Earth means muscles and bones are under more strain, so colonists follow rigorous fitness programs to maintain strength and prevent bone loss. Exercise areas might include variable gravity treadmills, resistance stations, or simulated natural terrain for walking and running indoors. Even casual movement between modules provides exercise, as corridors and vertical transitions are designed to encourage activity. Education, work, and recreation are interwoven with these routines. Children attend schools within domes, where lessons range from traditional subjects like mathematics and science to survival skills, environmental management, and life support engineering. Adults balance research, engineering, agriculture, and colony maintenance. Careers are highly specialized but collaborative. Energy management teams coordinate with agricultural engineers who work alongside biologists and medical staff to maintain a healthy, sustainable population. In essence, daily life on Proxima b is a delicate balance of human ingenuity and environmental adaptation. Every action, from tending plants to exercising, from venturing outside to interacting in communal spaces, is framed by the planet's extreme conditions and the need to sustain life in a closed-loop ecosystem. Life is never casual, never ordinary, but there's a beauty in its rhythm. Crimson skies, quiet domes, and the constant awareness of standing on a frontier that stretches across light and dark, warmth and cold. Over time, colonists would develop new habits, new cultural practices, and a profound sense of belonging in a world where survival, exploration, and daily life are inseparably linked. Life under the soft, red glow of Proxima Centauri would shape a culture entirely its own, something that would feel simultaneously alien and profoundly human. Imagine children growing up in the Terminator zone, where the sky never shifts from its perpetual twilight. They would never see a sunrise or sunset as we know it. Instead, they would experience a constant gradient of crimson, copper, and soft orange stretching across the horizon. Their sense of time would be built not on natural cycles, but on artificial rhythms, lighting cues, temperature shifts, and daily schedules carefully designed to mimic the passing of a day. This would fundamentally reshape how they perceive time, duration, and even the passage of life itself. From the very beginning, education would blend the familiar with the unfamiliar. Schools would teach Earth history, mathematics, literature, and the sciences, but also highly specialized survival skills for life on an alien world. Students would learn engineering and systems maintenance for domes and life support modules, botany, specifically for red light agriculture, hydrodynamics for aquaponics systems, and planetary science to understand Proxima B's orbit, climate, and radiation patterns. Radiation safety and emergency protocols would be taught as basic life skills, just as we teach swimming or first aid on Earth. In essence, growing up on Proxima B would mean mastering both the mental and physical demands of survival, alongside curiosity and creativity. Art and culture would naturally adapt to the environment. Music could evolve in ways that imitate the howling winds along the Terminator, the faint reverberations inside domes, or the subtle rhythmic sounds of hydroponic water circulation. Instruments might be designed to resonate at frequencies that harmonize with the planet's ambient noises, or compositions could be built to complement the red, dim light of the sky. Literature would chronicle the human experience on a new world, tales of daring expeditions into the eternal night, journals recording the first successful domed gardens, poetry inspired by the perpetual twilight, and stories about the challenges and triumphs of surviving in a sky painted in copper and ruby. Architecture would also become a medium of expression. Buildings and domes would be designed not just for function, but for the aesthetic experience of light, shadow, and depth unique to the Terminator zone. Walkways, observation platforms, and communal spaces would emphasize curves and angles that catch the soft red light, creating an interplay between illumination and perception. Gardens inside domes would be carefully arranged to evoke the feel of Earth forests, but adapted to the red spectrum, with plants' deep reds and purples forming surreal landscapes where children and adults alike could learn about biology, sustainability, and artistic expression simultaneously. Communities would develop rituals and traditions deeply tied to the planet. Annual events might celebrate the rare alignment of Proxima's flares with the Terminator, or mark the growth cycles of particular crops that flourish under the alien sun. Festivals could combine scientific achievements, successful terraforming experiments, discoveries of new minerals or ice flows, with artistic performances, storytelling, and communal gatherings. These rituals would serve both practical and psychological purposes, reinforcing social cohesion and giving meaning to life in an environment that is harsh, constant, and unlike anything on Earth. Religion, spirituality, or philosophical thought could also evolve in uniquely Proxima ways. Humans might develop a reverence for the star itself, seeing the red sun as a symbol of endurance and life under adversity. Children might learn early on about the balance between science and respect for the alien environment, understanding that survival requires both technical knowledge and awareness of the planet's rhythms, forces, and dangers. Even casual, everyday interactions would carry cultural significance. A simple walk along an observation corridor or a shared meal in a communal dome would be an opportunity for storytelling, teaching, or reflection. Humans would likely develop unique social norms around lighting, touch, and communication, adapting to the muted, diffuse environment. Shadows might play an important role in nonverbal cues, and subtle variations in red and orange light could carry symbolic meaning. Over generations, children born on Proxima b would come to understand the Terminator not as a limit or challenge, but as home. They would see the twilight as normal, the crimson sky as comforting, and the contrast between light and dark as integral to daily life. Their language, stories, art, and music would all be filtered through this environment, creating a culture that Earth-born humans might find surreal yet deeply coherent. a civilization uniquely adapted to its world. Ultimately, the culture of Proxima b would be a fusion of survival, ingenuity, and imagination. It would be a society where science, art, and daily life are inseparable, where children learn both how to grow food in red light and how to compose music inspired by alien winds, where every building, every dome, every garden is a testament to human creativity and resilience. Living under red skies, humanity would forge new ways to understand time, space, and community, creating traditions and art forms that are profoundly new, yet unmistakably human. Life on Proxima b would not be easy, and anyone imagining it as a tranquil adventure would quickly realize just how harsh and unpredictable this alien world could be. Even in the carefully managed Terminator zone, where temperatures are mild and survival seems possible, danger would always be close at hand. Radiation storms from Proxima Centauri are unpredictable and powerful. When the star flares, vast quantities of ultraviolet and X-ray radiation sweep across the planet. Colonists would need early warning systems, reinforced bunkers, and protective suits to survive these episodes. Even brief exposure could disrupt sensitive electronics or damage biological systems, forcing entire communities to retreat underground or into shielded habitats. The atmosphere itself might be unstable, especially if humans are experimenting with partial terraforming or maintaining artificial pressures. Subtle shifts in gas composition, pressure drops, or chemical imbalances could threaten breathing, heat retention, or plant growth. Colonists would face critical decisions. Do they try to manipulate the atmosphere, thickening it, adding oxygen, or introducing trace gases to mimic Earth-like conditions? Or is it wiser to remain within controlled domes, leaving the natural planetary systems largely untouched? Every choice carries risk. An error in chemical balance or mechanical systems could cascade into a crisis affecting hundreds or thousands of people. Alongside environmental challenges come ethical and cultural conflicts. Some settlers, born on Earth, would deeply miss their home, blue skies, familiar oceans, and the gentle rhythm of the natural day-night cycle. They might advocate for efforts to make Proxima b more Earth-like, even at the risk of failure or unintended consequences. Others, particularly those born on Proxima b or fully adapted to its conditions, could see the planet as a chance for a new beginning, a blank canvas on which humanity can redefine itself. Tensions could emerge between preservationists, eager to respect the alien environment, and terraformers, willing to reshape it for comfort, productivity, or exploration. Technological failure would be another constant threat. The life support systems, power grids, magnetic shields, and climate regulators that keep colonies alive are complex and interdependent. A single malfunction, whether a breach in a dome, a failure of a geothermal generator, or a glitch in a maglev transport network, could cascade into a full-scale emergency. Colonists would need constant vigilance, rapid repair protocols, and robust redundancy systems. Every engineer, technician, and scientist would be essential to the survival of the settlement. Training would be intense, with simulations of blackouts, radiation storms, and mechanical failures forming a routine part of life. Psychological adaptation would be just as critical as physical survival. Living under eternal twilight, with limited exposure to natural variation, could be mentally challenging. Stress, isolation, and the perception of monotony could lead to tension, depression, or conflict within communities. Social cohesion would be maintained through structured schedules, shared projects, educational programs, and rituals celebrating discoveries, seasonal cycles of crops, or rare natural events. Creative outlets, art, music, literature, would serve not only as entertainment, but as vital tools for emotional resilience and cultural continuity. Over time, humans would develop new strategies for adaptation. Flexible scheduling would allow shifts in work, sleep, and social interaction to prevent fatigue and maintain mental health. Emergency drills would become second nature. Colonists would learn to read subtle environmental signals, the faint reddening of clouds before a flare, the slight vibration in structural supports indicating stress, or shifts in oxygen or pressure within domes, and respond instinctively. Communities would evolve governance structures, emphasizing both efficiency and fairness, with councils or committees overseeing environmental interventions, resource allocation, and ethical debates. Even in these challenges, there is opportunity for growth. Facing life or death conditions, humans would refine their engineering, medicine, and ecological management to unprecedented levels. Skills learned on Proxima B, resilient agriculture under red light, energy management in harsh environments, rapid disaster response, could eventually feed back into Earth-based knowledge. People would learn to coexist with extreme conditions, using creativity, collaboration, and rigorous science to thrive where life would seem impossible. Ultimately, adaptation is a constant, multi-layered process on Proxima B. Humans would not just endure, they would grow into the environment. Ethical debates, technological ingenuity, social cohesion, and cultural evolution would all combine, forming a civilization uniquely adapted to life under a red sun. Life here would be precarious, yes, but also extraordinary, a constant reminder of humanity's ability to meet challenges, resolve conflict, and flourish, even on a world so different from the one we call home. Over decades, or even centuries, human settlements on Proxima B would gradually evolve from fragile outposts into fully functioning, stable communities. In the early years, survival would demand constant vigilance, careful rationing of resources, and a disciplined approach to life under red skies. But as generations grew up knowing nothing but Proxima B, the colonies would mature. Magnetic generators and artificial shielding systems would be scaled up, protecting entire city-sized areas. Domes would interconnect, forming multi-level megastructures with living quarters, laboratories, classrooms, greenhouses, recreation centers, and hospitals, all carefully managed in a closed-loop system where every drop of water, every bit of air, and every calorie is accounted for and recycled. With time, atmospheric engineering might allow for partially open habitats. Colonists could cultivate open-air parks under semi-protective fields, experiment with terraced gardens, or even create small lakes or ponds to support local flora and experimental aquatic ecosystems. The once small hydroponic farms would grow into sprawling agricultural centers capable of producing a wide variety of food. Plants might be selectively bred or genetically engineered to thrive under Proxima's red sunlight, creating ecosystems uniquely adapted to the alien environment. Bioreactors for algae, fungi, and even cultured protein sources would supplement nutrition, providing diverse and sustainable food options for thousands of residents. Science and exploration would be at the heart of every colony. Once a stable base was established, small, heavily shielded expeditions could begin exploring the day side of the planet. These missions would be both symbolic and practical, testing new protective technologies, studying the effects of extreme radiation, mapping the terrain, and identifying resources that might support further expansion. The frozen night side, meanwhile, would remain a place of research and discovery, with teams venturing carefully to study ice structures, potential subglacial oceans, or traces of water locked beneath the crust. Education would be fully integrated into daily life. Schools and universities would teach both the history and science of Earth and the complex skills needed to thrive on Proxima b. Subjects would include advanced engineering, climate modeling, radiation biology, planetary geology, red light agriculture, robotics, and emergency management. Young people would grow up as natural explorers and problem solvers, deeply connected to their environment, yet capable of interacting with technology on a planetary scale. Cultural life would flourish as well. Art, music, and literature would evolve under crimson skies. Music might echo the whistling winds along the Terminator or the rhythmic hum of energy systems within the domes. Stories would be told about first expeditions, survival against radiation storms, and the interplay between humans and the alien world. Architecture would balance functionality and beauty, creating spaces that feel open yet safe, with corridors, light wells, and observation decks aligned to the soft red glow of Proxima Centauri. Community rituals would develop, celebrating seasonal crop cycles, planetary phenomena, or successful scientific discoveries, grounding humanity's culture in the rhythms of this unique world. Governance and social structures would evolve to manage complex logistical challenges, resource distribution, and ethical decisions about terraforming or expansion. Conflict would not disappear, but mechanisms for negotiation, problem-solving, and cooperation would become essential. Over generations, colonists would develop traditions, values, and philosophies unique to life under two eternal suns, a permanent day and a permanent night, separated only by the glowing twilight of the Terminator. Amid all this activity, there would still be moments of quiet reflection. On calm evenings, a colonist might step onto a viewing platform or an observation deck within a dome, gazing at the thin, luminous line of the Terminator. To one side, the blazing day, vivid and harsh. To the other, the icy night, silent and infinite. Between them, the twilight glows softly, a reminder of the delicate balance sustaining life on this alien world. Standing there, humans would feel both their vulnerability and their accomplishment, aware of the vastness of the cosmos and the extraordinary feat of carving a home out of a previously unreachable star system. They would breathe deeply, feeling the weight of centuries of effort, the resilience of human ingenuity, and the continuity of generations who learned to adapt to a red sun, a high-gravity environment, and a world of extremes. Slowly, as the twilight stretches across the horizon, they would drift into sleep, secure in the knowledge that humanity had not only survived, but had truly become a part of this once distant world, Proxima Centauri b, a place no longer unreachable, now home. And now, as we drift away from the cities of Proxima B, from its glowing domes and crimson horizons, from the quiet courage of the people who call it home, let all those images soften in your mind. The Terminator fades into a gentle blur. The endless day on one side, the frozen night on the other, and that peaceful band of Twilight where humanity learned to live, to grow, to dream again. Imagine yourself standing there one last time. The air feels cool, balanced, almost perfectly still. The sky above you is painted in deep red and warm orange, like a sunrise that never ends. There is no hurry, no noise, no rush of time, only the slow rhythm of your breath and the steady hum of the life support systems far behind you. You take a quiet step forward, and another, feeling the soft gravity beneath your feet, the gentle tug of an alien world welcoming you, holding you, letting you rest. In the distance, you can see the faint glow of the colony, little arcs of light under soft domes, shimmering like tiny stars on the surface of the planet. Inside them, people are settling into their own nights, their own rhythms, their own dreams. And for a moment, you feel connected to all of them, to their hopes, their journeys, their quiet bravery. Above you, Proxima Centauri glows steadily, a small red sun, ancient and calm. Its light feels warm, familiar, even comforting. You let that glow wash over you, soft and dim, guiding you deeper into stillness. And as you breathe in again, slowly, gently, you feel the weight of the day melt away. All the questions, all the thoughts, all the noise of life dissolves into quiet space. You imagine the colony sleeping, the world turning, the soft twilight wrapping everything in calm. You imagine yourself floating just above the surface, light and free, as if the planet itself is carrying you. There is nothing you need to do now, nowhere you need to go, no decisions to make. Just this moment, this breath, this feeling of drifting toward rest. Let the red sky dim a little more. Let the twilight settle softly around you. Let the stillness of Proxima B become the stillness inside your mind. And as you slowly close the last part of your awareness, you carry with you the quiet peace of that distant world. A reminder that even in the vastness of the universe, there are places of calm, of hope, of quiet beginnings. Now, let your breath fall into a gentle rhythm. Let your body grow heavy and warm. Let your thoughts fade into silence. You are safe. You are calm. You are drifting into sleep. Good night.